Good rising, family. Hopefully you guys are ready for another wonderful evening. Brother Yance Yamar right here. I know you guys are asking for him to come back, and he is gracing us with his presence, and he's going to share some more information and more of his studies with us. How you doing, brother?
Hey, Grand Rising, Big Judah. How are you?
I'm doing great.
Likewise.
Please go right ahead and share. I know you have some things you wanted to share. Please, the floor is yours.
Yes. Okay. The first thing I wanted to do, family, was to read something I wrote last night at 3 a.m, which hopefully could be helpful for all of us. It's a small poem, and it goes, "The days I learned great knowledge, a gift unto me. From the knowledge is born of wisdom, now I can see. A door opens more each step I learn. For this my mind thirsts, for the more I yearn. Riddles of the world, a time I once known. For the keys given to doors, how many minds have my mind has grown. Thy dreams speak truth, visions live through my eyes. For my time here is to learn the truth and ignore lies." So hopefully this is something we can all use in our journey of knowledge. What I wanted to touch on with you today is the importance, because of the time that we're in and the knowledge that we need to gain quickly as a people, is bloodline birthright. There is certain things that we need to understand quickly and come together. Now, one of the things that we have to understand with this is the word timeline. See, there's nothing new under the sun. So timeline is basically over a period. There have been many worlds or periods of epochs of time that we lived, from the Atlanteans to the present day time that we're in now. We have been all these things, from Hebrew, Igri, Kemet, the Saints, the Berbers, Arabs, Moors, Atlanteans, and children of Ra, etc. We've been this on all various lands, from the Americas, Europe, Asia, Asia Pacific, worldwide. But the bloodline never changed. Just the names and the cultures. We changed our languages, we changed the way we dress, just like we're in present day now. We're still the same bloodline, but we're wearing different clothes. Yeah. We're speaking this bastard tongue called English. So we're all the same people. And yes, we've had people that betrayed us, our own blood. So don't let that become a division. And because this is what they do to try to divide us. Oh, we're not this, or we're that.
Uh-huh.
You were all these things over this timeline.
Yes.
And this is the thing that we have to understand, that the bloodline brings us together. The cultures, we're all emulating different cultures that we resonate with throughout the timeline.
Yeah.
So everyone is not wrong for whatever the timeline that they're resonating with, whether that be the time of the Hebrews, whether that be the time of Kemet, whether that be time of the Arab, Berbers, or the Moors time. It's all the same. You're all right. You're all right in your own right. And it's your lineage and it's your heritage to be that. It's your birthright to be that. So we shouldn't argue amongst each other, where you see this sometimes on YouTube and places where people are arguing over who we were. We were all these things. That is fact. All we have to do is just research it, and you will find that over time, we were all those things. But one thing remained the same, was the bloodline. Okay?
Yes.
The bloodline is the same. We're still brothers and sisters that we were when we were back in the last golden era. Before we started to decline and forget, until we became into our lowest state that we are now, and now we're in our awakening. Okay, so one thing that I think that it would be great for all of you to do is while you're getting your coffee and, oh boy, I can't wait to listen, get a pen and some paper. And if you can, invest, if you don't have one, a etymology dictionary. That is very crucial because certain words you think mean one thing means another, because the etymology dictionary will give you the root meaning of a word. You'll be surprised at some of the words you thought meant one thing and they meant another, especially when it comes to reading ancient text.
Yes.
Okay, so now we're going to go to a word that we need to definitely be careful of because words take on meaning. Our tongue is like a sword. Whatever we speak, we manifest. Through our minds, it becomes a reality. So we're going to look up the word black. Okay? Black, meaning fierce, terrible, wicked, is from Latin from the 14th century. Figuratively, senses often come from the notion of without light, moral or spiritual. Latin and ancient Latin in Niger had many of the same figurative senses: gloomy, unlucky, bad, wicked, malicious, color of sin. And it also means pale. So it means that without color. So black people, black American, black is cursing yourself with your own tongue. Mm-hmm. This is why they keep this in the media. Black people, mm-hmm. Black Lives Matter, black Americans.
Yep.
This is for you to continue to repeat it yourself because you, my people, have the power of the tongue. You are the children of the Most High. You are his seed. Seed means offspring or his semen. I hate to put it to you this way, but look it up yourself. Mm-hmm. The etymology of the word seed means offspring or semen.
Yeah.
Okay. So you have to understand that you are a bloodline of the Most High God. Okay. And you have a birthright. We'll get to that later. So the first thing we have to understand is that the media is programming you to use this word to call yourself that you're immoral, that you're without light, you don't have no spirituality, you're unlucky, gloomy, bad, wicked, malicious. You have to stop using that word on yourself and on your people.
Yes.
That's very important now because this is, you're cursing yourself with your own tongue. We have that power. They understand this about you. Mm-hmm. They understand this about you. They know you have the power. That's like Big Judah was talking about how they have us go to their churches to do our praise to their gods and their agendas. Yep. Because we have the power of the tongue.
Exactly. Great point. Just like freedom. We were talking about freedom and free Edom, and we don't realize, we think we're freeing ourselves, but we're just talking about free and Edom, and they want us to follow that.
That's right. Right, brother. And that's why we wonder why we're still stuck. Mm-hmm. What's going on? Why we can't get some? Because we don't understand the power we hold. That's very important. The power we as the bloodline of the Most High hold. We have power. We have abilities. We're at our lowest state, but even at our lowest state, look at all of the things that we can do. Mm-hmm. From arts, music, inventions,
yes,
all types of innovations that we have brought to this world, even at our lowest state of being. And even our buffoonistry
true.
is being emulated.
Yep.
You see? So we're still the light of the world, even though we're at our lowest state of being. So now it's time for us to come together. And realize these things and not look at them like there's some kind of fairy tale or your enemy understands the power of words, the power of the tongue. They understand this and they use it because these are words are spells.
Yes, they are. So, spelling,
right.
Putting spells on people and things.
Even the word vote is casting your vote is you're actually casting a spell. Mm-hmm. So when they say go out and vote, look up the etymology of the word vote and you'll be surprised what it really means. And you'll go, oh my God, that's why when they said vote as if your life depended on it, they understand the power of words. We have to start playing chess and get out of checkers.
Exactly.
Okay, so that's very important. So you need to get you an etymology dictionary. There are a few that you can get if you're using an Android phone. There's a few etymology dictionary apps for your phone. And also would be really great for you to get is a Black's Law dictionary. You need to understand some of the laws that they have put together today that is against you. Mm-hmm. The knowledge, the key. So, okay, we got that covered now. So now we're going to go to showing you some proof that the so-called Gentiles know who you are and where you're from. Mm-hmm. I came across a video the other day, and it was this guy, he's an Alabama senator at the time, and his name is Scott Bazin. That's Scott Bazin. The last name spelling is Beason. All right? And I think this was around the year 2011. But he had came out and said, this is a senator, U.S. senator at the time, and he said that Black Americans are the aboriginals of America.
Mm-hmm. I saw that video on the Drop. Drop did a video on that. Right.
He said Black Americans, see, calling you Black American, mm-hmm. Black, you know that word Black now. And he said, you are the aboriginals of America. It means you're the original people of America. He said it, mm-hmm. and he got a lot of heat for it.
He caught hell for that.
Yes, that's right, brother. Mm-hmm. He sure did. Now, here's another key note that I'll share with you based on that. And if you can, just look that video up, people. Don't trust anything I'm telling you. Research what I'm telling you. Take this as a mark for you to go look and see for yourself. And you can see these things so you can get some understanding and overstanding of what is being done to you. All right. Now, if you search the word America on the Webster Dictionary 1828.com site, which is the 1828 version of the Webster Dictionary, okay, and you look up the word American, you will come out with this definition. American, a native of America, originally applied to the Aboriginals or copper-colored races. Found here by the Europeans, but now applied to the descendants of Europeans born in America. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, now I want you guys to take a penny, a Lincoln penny, which is copper, put it to your skin. See if that don't match you. Okay. Now I'm gonna read this again. I'm going to read this definition again. I want you to catch this really. This is in the Webster Dictionary and the year version of 1828. Okay? And you can get this definition online at Webster Dictionary 1828.com. All right, I'm going to read this definition again. It says, a native of America originally applied to the Aboriginals or copper color races. found here by the Europeans, which we know that that's the Gentiles. All right. But now, this is the key one, but now applied to the descendants of Europeans born in America. Now, that's the key line right there. That tells you the truth right there. But now applied to the descendants of Europeans born in America. So that means that they took your identity. Is that right? They took your identity and they made you United States citizens. They naturalized you. And they came out with the one drop rule and gave you and took the word Indian from you and made you Negroes. And then they naturalized you to become the 14th Amendment, which is not a law, by the way. It's just an amendment. So you're under the illusion that you are a United States citizen of America. Now, there's two citizenships now. Let's look at this. There's the American citizenship, which they just told you is the descendants of the Europeans. And they give them the Bill of Rights. You are the United States citizen, which is property of the United States. And you have civil rights. You see the difference? So this is important for you to know. Now, based on that, now you know that they're telling you out of their mouth by accident that you are the aboriginals of America. So the story was flipped. They took you and shipped you to other places, okay, from the Americas. So you, again, that's why Martin Luther King said, we're exiles in our own land. You catch that in his speech. As well as Malcolm X saying, Plymouth Rock landed on us. We were already there. America is North Africa. When all the great when it was one great continent and everything broke apart, America was connected to Africa and it broke off. We were North Africa. It still was called North Africa for many years, and we crossed over, which is what the meaning of the word Hebrew means, crossing over. So this is why we have to have the etymology dictionary to find out the meaning of the words. So America is Egypt or Kemet in ancient times, and also goes back to Atlantis. And I have some pictures that hopefully I can share with you to show you the remnants of Atlantis being on the East Coast, the eastern coastal areas of North America, which is also called the North Gate, which we'll get to that at some point. So that's why you'll find so many mounds, which are pyramids, and other temples and artifacts, because we are those people going back for hundreds of thousands of years on that land. We weren't just there for a minute. We were there for a long time.
Yes.
Okay. Over a long time, over many epochs, time periods throughout. We're just now at this time where we're waking up. We were many years there. They're digging up many of our. When you go to the museum, you are seeing your timelines. You're seeing your culture, your lineage. You were many things over time. You're a great people. You're a great people.
Yes. Very
great people with lots of culture and history. Now that we got that one out the way, we're going to go to what the word house means. And house means like your name, your birthright, your bloodline. So the house of Israel and the house of Judah, which is offspring or descendants Okay, that's what that means. So you would think it would mean like a house, but it also has that meaning as well. Now, it's interesting. I'm going to point out something, but I'm going to have to kind of put it in code for you. And we're going to have to, hopefully you'll be able to pick this up. Now, you remember the story, Big Judah, about the Esau and Jacob birthright.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Where Esau was hungry and Jacob was cooking some lentil soup. Am I correct?
Yes.
On this? And Esau said, I'm really hungry. I couldn't find any food. I want to eat. Listen. And he said, well, if you want to eat, would you give me your birthright? I hope I'm doing the story right.
Yes, sir.
And he said, yes, I will. Yes, I will. So he sold his birthright for some lentil soup that Jacob was cooking. Okay. And so this is probably where the story falls into play, right? Now, if you look at today and you're looking at what we call the jab, and look at the things they're offering you. A bag of weed, and here it's a goat. You get one free goat. If you're in prison, you get a 4 years off now, off your sentence. Amazing. You can get in the lottery, win $1 million. Yeah, it kind of reminds you of them trying to get you to possibly sell your birthright
back to them.
Right. Right. I thought that yesterday. I was just kind of sitting up and I was like, man, this is kind of like that story, but
in reverse. In reverse. And then they go into our neighborhoods and trying to talk to our people, and it makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense. Definitely.
They're we'll give you this, we'll give you that, and I mean it's like your birthright and your soul is priceless.
Yes.
But they're offering you trinkets, a fish dinner. I've even seen where they offered you a free fish dinner, catfish dinner, all these kind of things. I'm not saying that's what it is, but it's very interesting. It's food for thought.
You can make a parallel, exactly. You make the parallels, exactly.
Right. It's a very interesting, what do you call it? Parallel, as you would say, that's happening right now before your eyes. And I'm not saying that's what it is, but it's just interesting that I would think of. And I was like, wow, he sold his birthright for a bowl of lentil soup.
Right.
And then you're turning around and seeing people doing what they got to do for a fish dinner,
right?
A goat, a chance to win $1 million, a free college education that meant nothing to you.
Exactly.
All kinds of trinkets, basically, and not even really concerned about your health. What does it do?
Yeah,
because they're threatening you with they're going to take things away from you, privileges that you supposedly can't live without.
Yes. Yes.
That's very interesting, brother. I was like, wow, that was deep. I couldn't wait to bring that to you. That. I thought you'd get a kick out of that.
I love that.
Okay, we're moving right along here. All right, so now we're going to talk about names. Now, this is something that's also, now, again, I'm putting this information out there with a disclaimer. I'm not saying I'm correct in everything I'm saying here. I'm giving you information that we all need to take the responsibility to research and to find the truth. These are the things that I've found, and I'm not saying that I'm right. I'm just giving you what I found, ladies and gentlemen. And we can go from there and work together and try to find our way to the truth. Okay, so one of the things that I have found that was interesting was our names.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the names that we've had, which is Williams, McDuffie, McFadden,
Mm-hmm.
Smith, all of the names that they told us were our slave owners' names.
Mm-hmm.
Now, let's think about this for a minute. Now, this came to me about 3 years ago, and when this truth started coming out, I was like, I knew it. But this came to me one day 3 years ago, and I was talking to my friends about it. I said, listen, if your last name is Kelly or Teague or my grandparents' name is Cray or what have you, why do we have all of these Irish and Scottish and British names?
Mm-hmm.
Now you go back and you trace the history of the so-called slave owners, which were the so-called Albions or Gentiles or Caucasians, some say.
Yes.
And of course, we know that they were in caves, right?
Mm-hmm.
They couldn't talk. They didn't know how to they didn't know how to bathe. They didn't know how to do anything. They were just basically like wild animals
Mm-hmm.
in caves. So if you couldn't talk, how could you have a name?
Right. Great point. Great point.
How could you have a name if you you just grunting and grabbing and kicking folks
Mm-hmm.
to get what you want? That's how you communicating. How could you have a name?
Exactly.
Or a lineage?
Yes.
Okay, now here's a movie hint. Here's a movie hint you got to see. There's a movie called The 13th Warrior. All right? It's called The 13th Warrior, and I don't know the guy's name who's playing the part. But I'm sure you just look for The 13th Warrior. Now, what's important about that movie is a Gentile story, but it's also your story.
Mm-hmm.
And what way? Okay, at one point in time, we were Moors.
Mm-hmm.
Whether, like I said, we were all of these things over time. So go do your research and realize that throughout the timeline, we were a lot of different cultures, languages, dress codes,
Mm-hmm.
you name it. At that time, there was one guy who was the 13th warrior, and he was Moorish or Moor. He was a Moor, which he looked like he had an Arabian sword. He was an Arab.
Mm-hmm.
You see? And he was the smartest of the group. Now, there was a group of Gentiles, and they had to go and fight the other Gentiles that were living in the caves that were yet to be civilized.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And you get to see how they were living.
Okay.
What they would do is they would go out at night and raid people, and they would eat their flesh, and they would take whatever they could and bring it back to the caves. They didn't like to come out in the daytime.
Mm-hmm.
This is in that movie. I didn't make this movie. The 13th Warrior. Okay? So now that we have that evidence, and we're saying, well, if they couldn't talk and they were grunting, and the Moors actually was the ones that took them out, gave them a bath,
mm-hmm.
taught them how to talk and be somewhat civilized,
mm-hmm.
then how did they get those names? How did they get those castles that belonged to the Moors and the family coat of arms that are all throughout Europe?
Yep.
Those belong to you.
Mm-hmm.
They don't belong to them.
Yep.
That's unequivocal proof that they just took what you had and kept stepping. And then they told you, oh, those were your slave names, which most likely they were. But remember now, in the beginning, those were the Moors' names of Europe.
Yeah.
You see?
Yeah.
So after they took over Europe and pushed us out, and shipped some of us to the Americas as well.
Mm-hmm.
And that was in one of your books that you read. I don't know if it was the Black Celts. I can't remember, but it was one of them where they first got rid of the men, and then they took the women and the children that they could overpower them.
Mm-hmm.
And they took over the property and the land. And they took on your names.
Mm-hmm.
And they took on your culture. They don't call them culture vultures for nothing.
It's making so much sense. If they started out knowing nothing, grunting, no talking, no language, then they you know, they have no original. There's no originality in them at all.
Right. They can only imitate,
Mm-hmm.
which will come to their artificial intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
They were we already had artificial intelligence. It's not something new. Well, artificial intelligence you already created AI, mm-hmm. and you're getting bit in the behind for it.
Yeah.
Okay, there's nothing new under the sun. We had more advanced technology than we have today. All we're doing with this technology is emulating the original technology, which was far more advanced and more powerful, which is about ready to return. But let's just get back to that. So the question would be that they took on your culture at that time, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And they took your castles and your coat of arms, and they took your stories from King Arthur, and you can even see this in another movie alert, Robin Hood with Kevin Costner,
yes.
where Morgan Freeman plays the Moor.
Exactly. I remember that, you know, growing up or in high school when I came out, you know, they were showing how advanced the Moors were in that movie.
Exactly.
And how, you know, brutish the Europeans were, and how he would always say things about how did they take us over? How did you guys take us over? You know,
exactly.
Exactly.
Yes, brother. Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. They're telling you the truth in those movies.
Mm-hmm.
You had the telescope, and they were like, and Morgan Freeman had a telescope, and then he gave it to Kevin. I was like, whoa, it's so close. And they had no clue.
Yep. Exactly. Exactly.
They had no clue. We were just magicians to these people at that point.
Just showed you that the curses and blessings right there. I mean, you know, we were technologically more advanced, but the Most High, you know, gave them their opportunity to run things, and, you know, gave them opportunity to be lords over us.
That's right. That's correct. And that's why the question, like you said, how could these people be over us?
Mm-hmm.
You see? And this isn't a diss to the Gentiles. If you're dipping in listening,
mm-hmm.
I'm just telling you what is in the movies and what is true.
Mm-hmm.
And the truth is the bomb.
That's it.
You couldn't have had those names if you couldn't speak.
Exactly.
And we had been on this earth for many thousands of years before you were even on the earth.
Exactly.
So that's proof in itself that the names Williams, James, McFadden, McDuffie, Murphy, and all these things that we're walking around with are actually our lineage in Europe.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess it would be called Old Jerusalem.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a very important point. And like I said, that's something to look at. That's a one of those like things that make you go,
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
How did they get those names? Because they, like I said, they want to give you the narrative that they got you from West Africa. You was in the jungle with a leaf on your thing, and
mm-hmm.
and you're running around eating a mango, can't even peel it, just biting off of it. And they grabbed you, and then they civilized you. They flipped the story. You civilized them.
Yeah, and that's exactly what they did. They totally flipped it because it makes it seem like we were the ones running around in caves grunting. But it's finished that we were grunting in the middle of the jungle with not, knowing nothing, and they civilized us. So true.
Right, and we bought it.
Yes, we did.
We bought the story, people.
And still, many of our people still buying it.
Right.
Even though we're giving all this other proof, but they're still buying that story.
Oh man, you are so right. Proof is just like It's common sense at this point.
Mm-hmm.
It's like just common sense. Like I said, I just thought of this in a room one day having some tea, and I said, wait a minute. I said, if these cats was in the cave grunting, how could they have names? So
Exactly.
that tells you right there. Somebody's lying.
Exactly.
Okay.
And they use our people, and they're using a lot of our people to keep those lives going.
Right. And see, and this is where our people today have to understand, do not let them divide us, because yes, we do have dirty people that are on the other side playing for the other team.
Mm-hmm.
That's our same skin tone. And they could be Moors, and they could be Israelites, and they could be the conscious community. It doesn't matter. So you got plus and minus in all of our lineage.
Yep.
We have to get over that. You just got to be, which team are you on? Are you on the light team, or are you on the dark team? Period.
Mm-hmm.
Some people, they say, I couldn't wait on God. I had to go on and make this deal over here.
Yep.
Kanye West went on YouTube and said, I couldn't wait on God. I signed a deal with the blankety blank.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a crappy deal, but at least it came with a happy meal.
Yep, exactly.
Okay? So he's on the other team. He just told you. See? Yep. Now we're gonna be mad at him, and we're gonna fight over, well, he says he's an Israelite, and the Israelites, they betrayed us, and now we fighting against, we caught up in our emotions.
Exactly.
And tripping over each other. And they just laughing. Look at them. They don't even understand. And so now they'll be stuck on that for at least another 3 years. Then we can figure out something else to trip them up with.
Exactly.
We got to stop this. We've got to stop this, people. There are bad people who are the seed of God, too.
Mm-hmm.
Period. They're sitting in your face every day, and they selling you out every day, and they are the same bloodline.
Yep. Just like you said, you said we were here before, we were doing a lot of the same things, just like you go back to the story of the Maccabees, at the beginning of the Maccabees, when a lot of our own people went and sold us out because they wanted to make a covenant with the Greeks.
Right, exactly. Thank you. Mm-hmm. It's throughout history that we've been against each other. You see? And we still the same. Nothing new under the sun, folks.
Yes.
Nothing new under the sun. So don't let anyone divide you because, the Moors, they sold us out. And then you don't want to look and learn the information of your lineage in the Moorish time period.
Mm-hmm.
Or you don't want to look at your lineage in the Israelite time period. Or, we ain't the Egyptians. You don't want to look at that lineage.
Mm-hmm.
Got nothing to do with the Atlanteans, man, because you need to understand that we were all those things and we had wars. Mm-hmm. Just like they said, war in heaven, which is space. There's a war down here amongst us. You see? So we have to understand that you have to get with the people that resonate with you. And you're saying, hey, I'm not down with selling my people out. And I can wait on God to return. Mm-hmm. I can wait for the return. Okay, and then you got the other side who's saying, hey, I couldn't wait. They gave me a couple of this and this, that, and the third, and that's their business. But we got to understand those people are not our friends anymore. But that doesn't mean that we can't be proud of our lineage and our culture, because all of these cultures belong to us. Watch the movie by Martin Lawrence. I think it's called something more. God, I can't think of the name. It's Martin Lawrence is in this movie, and they kept calling him a Moor the whole time. He had got back from modern times back into medieval times. And I was like, the Moor?
I kind of remember that movie. I don't remember the name of it, but I do remember that movie.
Yeah, exactly. They're telling you. Mm-hmm. All of the things you were over time, people. Over time. Just like when the 32nd dynasty of Egypt fell, Kemet, the 33rd dynasty came in, which were the Freemasons. We're the Masons. Mm-hmm. Mason means builders. We build. they became the Freemasons at the 33rd, right? 33rd Freemason, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so they probably said, when we conquered Egypt, what we gonna do with all these people?
Exactly, right?
The same story is going on in America right now. Right? They colonized us. I said, well, what we gonna do with all these people? There's too many of them to get rid of them. Can't get them all. They tried to smallpox and all of that gig.
Yep.
So they had to get your mind. They had to get inside your head and get you to believe something that they fabricated about you. And then they indoctrinated you into this belief or this story, and we bought it.
Yep.
And so now it's time to realize that we have to stop buying their story. That's his story.
Exactly.
His story. What is our story? You see? So obviously when they took over Kemet, the people who were there was us, the bloodline. They just put on the hat and sat at the throne and took our staff and they just kept it pushing, just like they did in America.
Yep.
They don't do anything new.
Nope.
And again, I'm not saying I'm right here, people, but just think about it and then research it. This is what comes to my mind. Because we have to put the pieces together, because they have all of your history books and all of your stuff in, places I don't want to say on the line, but
yes.
They got this stuff all stored up.
Exactly.
So you're going to have to use what we call, I guess in the Hebrews, they call it the Ruach. And some people say the Holy Spirit. And some people say, like in Star Wars, it says, use the Force, Luke. The Force. I call it the God's internet.
Exactly.
There's an internet that connects us all together. And when we really need to get information, if we use our minds right and connect and can tap into that, we can get the information. It will come to you.
Exactly.
It's crazy. It's like magic.
Right. People be put in your path. The Most High just downloads it to you or sends you to someone who knows, the answers that you're looking for.
That's it. It's amazing. You'll ask a question and say, okay, so I got that part, but what about this part here? And you'll be scrolling somewhere and then a video will fly up. Or like you said, somebody will call you out of the blue and just have that answer.
Yes.
Talking about something else. We talking about some Wonder Bread. Next thing you know, it got to that answer. It's like, that's it. What'd you just say? I said, yeah, okay. What's wrong with you? I said, man, I was looking for that answer.
Yeah, exactly. To show you how wonderful the Most High is and the Holy Spirit, how she's been used to, give us this knowledge and understanding. I mean, there's no way we could get this understanding without the Most High, without the Holy Spirit. There's no way, because the whole world has been set up to keep us away from this understanding.
Against us, right? Keep us asleep and distracted with either sports, celebrity gossip, or arguing with each other over nothing.
Especially that arguing, like we talked before about how emotional we are and how passionate we are, and they use that against us.
Oh my goodness, man, that is one of our biggest trip falls. We really got to get into a higher vibration as a people and really realize that we need to love and respect each other. And even though I may not agree with everything one of my people are saying, it doesn't mean that we got to hate each other or argue and debate forever.
Exactly.
You see? And get emotional and start being condescending to each other.
So true.
So that keeps us fragmented, separated against each other. They don't have to do the work. We're doing it for them.
Yep.
East Coast, West Coast. The East Coast, the West Coast. Dark skin, light skin. I can go on and on. They even got us separated in religion. Well, I'm Episcopal. I'm AME. I'm on.
So
If
true.
there's only one Most High and one people, one bloodline, look at how they got us.
Yep.
You see? We got to stop that now. We don't have the luxury. Be honest with you, and I'm speaking to the family. We don't have the luxury right now to argue about anything. We really need to get this information and come together as quick and as efficiently as possible. Because they're going around, trying to do what they got to do. They doing their business.
Mm-hmm. Very true. They got their agenda. They got their things they want to get done.
Yeah. They executing their stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They ain't arguing.
Yep.
But we'll argue over whether LeBron James is gonna stay on the Lakers or he's gonna get traded. We'll argue over that.
Exactly. If I hear about Chris Paul one more time or Giannis and their legacy and their this, I'm like, and if he wins at this and doesn't win now, then it's like, wow, this is all we're talking about. All these things going on, and this is all we're talking about.
Exactly. That's exactly what they're doing. It just to keep you from overstanding what's going on right now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's important for all of us, not just me, not my brother Big Judah, or any other people that's bringing this knowledge to you, is get the pen and paper, write down. Because I don't know how long you'll be able to know me.
Mm-hmm.
Life isn't promised. We could be just in passing, and then I may not be around. I may be going in another direction, or what have you. We have to take what we can while we in the moment.
Yes.
Family.
Yes.
You see, don't take it like, oh, they'll be there and we'll be. No. I've learned early on in life that people can be taken away at a moment's notice. So you have to get that thing in the moment. This is the moment for you to take this information, write it down, study it for yourself, get what you can out of it. As you say, spit the bones out and eat the meat or whatever. I forget how it goes.
Yep,
baby bathwater analysis. And so you can have this knowledge so you can pass it on to your circle that's willing to listen. Mm-hmm. It's not for everybody. Remember that. It's not for everybody.
And I think that's something that many of us, first coming into this truth really get hung up on, thinking that it's for everyone. And that, right. Jews and Gentiles are all going to get it. They're all, and want this information and want this truth. And there's so many that are set up they don't want this truth. They don't want us to right. get this understanding because they know that once that happens, that's it for them.
Right, exactly. The stakes are high.
Mm-hmm.
The stakes are high. It's not they're going to get a little something in it. You own everything.
Mm-hmm.
That's why when that American senator, said that, he got heat.
Yes, he did. He wouldn't even mention it again. He wouldn't even say it again.
Right. You imagine what kind of phone calls he was getting at 3 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
So this is why you got to understand this is not a game. This is real. These people are playing for keeps.
Mm-hmm.
And we got to stop playing in the mud. We got to stop playing around. We got to understand that this information is important. Your name, your bloodline, your birthright, your lineage, your heritage, your inheritance belongs to you, a one bloodline, a peculiar people that is unto me.
Mm-hmm.
That's holy. Holy means separate.
Mm-hmm.
Look that word up, ladies and gentlemen. Holy means separate.
Mm-hmm.
Means you're separate unto him. You weren't made for the world to mingle. You were made to be separate. That's the Most High.
Yep.
That's not me. That's his quote in the Bible.
And the world has gone the total opposite. They set up all their churches for universalism, all together, everyone together. But the Most High has set up the opposite. He separates separate. That people are separate and peculiar unto Him only.
Right, that's right. That people can get mad. It's right there in the Bible for everyone to read. It's in other ancient texts too.
Yep.
We were separate. We were a nation above all other nations by blood birthright of the Most High.
And you can see that even played out with the Americas, because it was a land that was holy and separated from the rest of the world.
That's right. Good point, brother. Good point. Exactly. If we're separate, we're people unto our own.
Yes.
And now we're the human race and we're all together, and that isn't what the Most High said. Now, am I being racist? No, I'm not. Does that make me a black, not a black, but a supremacist? No, but it is what it is.
That's what is written.
As they say.
They're all walking around with the same Bible.
I didn't make the rules to this game. The Most High did.
Yep.
I didn't write the book. I'm just reading it. I'm really reading it.
Exactly. Reading it and being led by the Holy Spirit to get understanding. That's the whole thing. They allowed you to read it, but they gave you the understanding.
Right, exactly. That's where a lot of people are messing up. You need to read it, get the etymology, ask the Most High to give you the understanding and the understanding of the words that are being written. Because there is some trips and snares in the book.
Definitely.
And in other historic books too.
But I just noticed that many of our people don't make the connections with the Bible and history. I said, they act like the Bible is separate from history, but it's not. It goes hand in hand. Right, exactly. And you have to understand some of those parables in there are about the stars and constellations. Yes. As well as astrology. Whether you feel satanic or not, it's in that book. Exactly. And I'm going to tell you that these comments that you see that they're talking about, comets are not a good omen. No. Throughout history. When comets come, kingdoms fall. Look this up, people. When comets come, and we got a lot of comets. You really go, they don't talk about them much, but if you go digging, we got this comet, the Neo comet, this one, and now they say they got this big comet. It's like a planet-sized comet that was coming past Uranus. I mentioned that in the last video. And it's supposed to swing by the sun. It says it's a planetary-sized comet. So all these comets and other things that you see happening on the earth is letting you know that these kingdoms that you see today are in decline. Okay? They're in decline. And you can see them fighting to try to keep their power. Exactly. Now it's our time to get together, huddle up, get the information and knowledge, and get our minds right and our spirit right, so that we can rise to the occasion of a new world being born. Remember, Esau's the end of the world, Jacob's the beginning. See? So this is important for everyone who's listening to this interview broadcast, our chat, me and Big Judah's chit chat, is to get this information, study it,
Keep the game that they running on you in the news and the media, the bywords they giving you, and the meaning of them. They're casting spells when they call you that.
Mm-hmm.
When they call you that color and that name.
Yep.
And then we turn around and they done drill it. Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter.
Mm-hmm.
We saying these words. Some of our people believe in those words. Some of our people believe that that byword is our name, mm-hmm. or even our nationality or our bloodline. And it is. And as a matter of fact, it means a very derogatory thing. And you can best believe that they know what it means.
Exactly. The game is deep.
Very, very, brother, very. Like I said, the analysis of they playing chess and we playing checkers, mm-hmm. that is point spot on. We have to step up our game.
Exactly.
We can't be arguing over stuff. We can't be stuck on this and that and getting to the point where we just going to the left, to the right, up and down over stuff. And we definitely ain't got time to deal with none of the distractions.
Exactly.
We don't have the luxury. Mm-hmm. We don't have it.
Thank you, brother.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You know, I don't know how we're doing on time, brother. Are we on time, or how much time do I have left, or do we have to stop now?
Then we're going to wrap it up. We're going to wrap it up in the next couple minutes. So you want to go ahead and finish up?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
I just wanted to say to you that we need to try to understand that our story is way bigger than just being here on this earth plane or this dimension plane. I don't know what this is yet. A lot of people say the earth is flat. A lot of people say the earth is round. Whatever it is, it's not what it appears to be. Mm-hmm. And we need to try to get overstanding and understanding of this as well. And I'm hoping that the next time we speak, like I said, I'm going to send you information on where people can go and find my pages and stuff, because I'm going to post some pictures of things so that people can see some of the evidence, physical evidence of your lineage that's being hidden, that you're driving past every day somewhere, and you didn't pick it up that's your lineage. So classical music, why you listen to that European music? That's your music. Mm-hmm. Everything you did it, sword fighting, fencing. You see the Three Musketeers. What do they have? A feather in their hat, right? That one feather, right? Mm-hmm. Isn't that the feather of Ma'at? You see, if you look back in the medieval times, most of us had one feather in our hat. So just like when we were Native American, Aboriginal, feather, one mm-hmm. feather, right? Mm-hmm. It represents law, justice, righteousness. You got to look these things up, because they're not going to tell you, and they're going to keep portraying themselves as you until we step up and we're, mature enough as a people. And knowledge, mature in knowledge, okay, to be able to bring this across to them where they can't say anything. We have to be in numbers. Mm-hmm. We can't just be one. Yes. So with that, I love you all, and I really thank you, Big Judah, for allowing me to be here again today.
Thank you, brother, for joining us again. Thank you.
Yes, I enjoyed it, and I look forward to down the line. And like I said, I will send information so that they can find where they can see these pictures.
All right.
And with that, I shall close.
All praises to the family. All praises to the Most High. Thank you, Father, for giving us this opportunity to be able to come together with my brother here and to be able to bring this information out to the family. Thank you so much, Father. Shalom.
Thank you. Shalom. I want one other thing. Okay. My name is Yance, like chance, mm-hmm. Yamar L.
Yance Yamar.
Yance Yamar L.
Okay, perfect. Yance Yamar. Okay. Perfect.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, brother. All right.